Miami. Is that the case?
Well, I asked exactly that question to Dwayne Wade after the Toronto game yesterday, and he looked at me and he said one word: no. I couldn't believe it. I mean, there was no question in Dwayne Wade's mind that this is not the toughest step along the way for the Miami Heat. And I don't think he was thinking about whether Kevin Garnett is going to be available tonight. The Heat have been through 6 weeks of the NBA rigors, and now they face a Boston team that has won 11 consecutive games right here on this floor without Rajon Rondo. In fact, that streak began on January 27th right here against the Miami Heat. Eric Spoelstra, when he talks about the Boston Celtics, no matter who's on the floor for them, always considers them above anything else a mental challenge for his team. And when you talk to his players, they agree.
Because they're smart. They got high basketball IQ guys just like us. So mentally, you have to be in tune. I think physically, we know we're going to be there. Emotionally, we know we're going to be there. So mentally, we have to be able to think the game as well.
Yeah, that's how we always looked at it. It's a team that you cannot let them rattle you in a sense by anything that they're doing on the basketball floor. You got to try to continue to play the game, continue to stick to your principles. And we've been able to do that in the playoffs when we've played them. We've been able to stay away from that.
I just think in general, they like to play the better teams. I don't know if the streak will have a big factor, but they love playing against us and vice versa. That's what happens when you meet a team consecutively in the playoffs. There's a history there, and that's what makes these games special. And I know our guys will be looking forward to it as well.
There is definitely a history there, and I am joined this morning by NBA insider Stephen A. Smith and also by Chris Broussard, who will be calling the game on the sidelines tonight for ESPN. A lot of epic battles, Chris, between these two teams, but in many of those, Rondo was healthy, Garnett was fully healthy, and Ray Allen was often wearing green. Why will this be a challenge for the Heat?
Well, I think the Celtics have shown in this era of the big three that no matter who's out there on the floor, they're going to bring the heart of a champion. Every time you want to count them out, whether it's because of age, whether it's because of injury, whether it's because you think they're overmatched, they play up to the moment. They should not have taken Miami to 7 games last year in the playoffs, but they did that. On top of that, Avery Bradley. Avery Bradley and Courtney Lee are arguably the best defensive backcourt in the league. They will try to pressure the Heat and keep the Heat from getting into their offense early. They feel like that's their best chance of winning. And also, Avery Bradley can do a good job of not stopping Dwayne Wade, but maybe keeping him in check.
What about you, Stephen A? Do you think that Dwayne Wade was right, that this is not the toughest step along the way for the Heat?
Well, I don't blame him for saying that because remember, some team called the San Antonio Spurs is on their schedule as well. They're scheduled to play the Miami Heat in San Antonio on March 31st, so I certainly can't blame him for feeling that way. But you also have to take into account the fact that, again, Kevin Garnett is not 100% healthy. Do not expect him to play tonight if he can't go. This is not a playoff game. The Boston Celtics are not going to jeopardize him in any way, so you can make sure that, we've got to make sure that he's going to even play. If he's not playing, you've got a real problem. Remember, if you're the Miami Heat, unlike prototypical teams, the quintessential teams that ultimately rely on a point guard, you can put an elite defender like Avery Bradley on them, and he can just really disrupt your offense. The Boston Celtics are 4th in field goal percentage defense. They're number 2 in three-point percentage defense. Their defense has nearly doubled in efficiency since Avery Bradley came back from his injury. So obviously, it's a big-time problem if you have a point guard just bringing the ball up the floor. The problem is you're playing the Miami Heat. One time it's LeBron bringing it up the floor. Another time it's Mario Chalmers. Another time it's Dwayne Wade. So you're going to sit there and put Avery Bradley on Dwayne Wade because you need him to defend Dwayne Wade. The problem is he's not necessarily pressuring the basketball and disrupting a team's offense the way he would be able to do against anybody else. That does not apply to the Miami Heat. So all of it lends itself towards making sense in Dwayne Wade's one-word answer to you about them not being the toughest challenger, but that doesn't mean you disrespect the greatness of the Boston Celtics because clearly they have the heart of a champion and they're going to try to bring it tonight.